All right, let's talk about building wealth. So many of us get this wrong, not because we're not trying hard enough, but because we're building things in the completely wrong order. It's this one single mistake that can make the entire structure, well, totally unstable. So let's break down how to actually get it right. And this quote right here, man, it just says it all. I mean, could you imagine trying to build a house by starting with the roof? Just floating it up there in the air? It's completely absurd, right? And yet, that is exactly how a lot of us approach our money. We're out there chasing hot stocks before we've built anything solid to even stand on. So, does that hit home a little bit? Maybe you've jumped into some crypto or tried to play the stock market, hoping for that one big win, all while your main income is still kind of shaky. Hey, if that's you, you're definitely not alone. It's a super common way to go about it, but it's also incredibly fragile. So let's really dig into this core problem. It's not a lack of ambition that's holding people back. It's a flawed architectural plan. When we build in the wrong order, we create two totally different futures for ourselves financially. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. You see on the left, you've got the fragile path. That's a house of cards. It starts with risky bets, it relies almost entirely on luck, and, well, it can all come crashing down in a second. But on the right, you've got the stable path. That's a pyramid. It starts with a huge, solid foundation. It relies on skills that you control, and it's built to last through anything. Okay, so how do we make sure we're on that stable path? The answer is you got to use the right blueprint. So we're about to walk through what's called the 6-layer wealth stack. Just think of this as the correct step-by-step sequence for building a financial house that doesn't just stand up, but actually gets stronger and stronger over time. And here it is, the whole shebang. Just look at that precise order. It starts with a skill, then you get cash flow, then a system, then equity, then capital, and finally, freedom. See how each layer supports the next one? If you try to skip a step, the whole thing gets wobbly. So now, let's break down each one. All right, let's get to the main event and see how this thing actually gets built. We're going to stack these 6 layers one by one, starting from the very, very bottom, the foundation itself. We start with the absolute 100% non-negotiable bedrock of everything, and that is a high-value skill. Seriously, before you even think about buying a stock or investing in anything, you need an ability that other people will pay you for. This could be anything: coding, sales, graphic design, heck, even plumbing, as long as it solves a real problem for someone. This is your foundation. Without it, you have nothing, and I mean nothing, to build with. Okay, so once that foundation is poured and it's set, that skill absolutely has to generate positive cash flow. This is layer 2. And it's not just about earning money. The crucial part here is earning more than you spend. That surplus, that little gap between what comes in and what goes out, that's everything. That becomes the raw material, the bricks and the mortar, for building every single other part of your financial life. Now, with those materials in hand, we build layer 3. And this is where you get to introduce some real leverage with a system. This right here is the game changer. This is the step where you finally break the link between your time and your income. So instead of just trading hours for dollars, you build a business, or you create a product, or you set up some process that works for you, even when you're sleeping. A system is how you scale beyond the 24 hours in a day. So as your system starts humming along and generating consistent profit, you can finally start building layer 4, which is equity. Now, what's so crazy is how far down the list this is. This is the thing most people try to do first, but it's only now, using the cash flow from your system, that you should start buying ownership in assets, whether it's in your own business, other companies, real estate, whatever. This is the point where your money finally starts doing the heavy lifting for you, growing all on its own. And as your equity grows, you start to achieve this kind of financial gravity, accumulating capital. This is layer 5. And look, we're not just talking about your emergency fund anymore. This is a significant pile of money, a war chest, that you've built up from your successful systems and your growing equity. And having this kind of capital, it just opens up doors to much bigger investment opportunities that were totally out of reach before. And with that capital working hard for you, you finally reach the top of the stack, the ultimate goal, the entire reason we started building the structure in the first place, which is freedom. As you can see, this is the top. This is the point where the income from your capital and your equity and your systems is enough to pay for the life you want to live forever. You don't have to work again if you don't want to. This is the roof we've been talking about, but now it's a roof held up by 5 incredibly strong layers underneath it. So there you have it. That's the blueprint. Now the only question that really matters is, what's your next layer? Just remember, that order is everything. Each step, from skill to cash flow to system, builds directly on the one before it. It's the only logical path to get to true freedom. So take a hard look at this stack and be really honest with yourself. Which layer are you working on right now? Because your answer to that question tells you your single most important next step.